Gay Guy 231. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, and look, we have one of the bigger, just game-wise EPL slates of the season. 5-game slate today. We have the really weird staggered start time again, but it does give us multiple classic slates. So we have the 2 games at 1 o'clock. We have another at 2:30, and then we have another at 3:15. So there's going to be a 15-minute window that you're going to have once lineups come out between the 3:15 and the 2:30 game to make some swaps. So make sure you are utilizing that time wisely, because that could be where a lot of money is made and lost. Good news is the most important team on the slate in Man City is the first game. So we get all of that news and we get all those shakeups. We get our roulette wheel spin out of the way early. I'm going to go over all that. Quick reminder, bottom right of the screen is the subscribe button. If you have not hit it already, please do. It is vital to the success of not only our channel, but our website at fsidfs.com. Make sure you check us out if you're interested in premium content. You can join soccer for as little as $3 a day or $10 a week to get core plays for every slate. I tilted MX last night. MX has been something over the years has been really good, and this year's been tough. So looking forward to turning that around. All right, let's jump into the games. And like always, we're going to start out with the odds. So I'm going to do my best here. It is, by the way, 6:25. Already got the workout in, so trying to get off this morning quickly, and this is, even the eyes are still adjusting. All right, so we got Man City minus 440 away to Burnley. We know in Burnley these situations sits really deep, plays completely off the counter. Hashtag Nick Pope season. Let's hope. If you've been watching this long enough or in our FSI channel, you probably already know who we're probably playing at goalie is Nick Pope. The other game at 1 is Leicester at Fulham. Leicester is a slate road favorite, plus 104. That is a 2.25 total. Man City Burnley was a 2.75 total, so not crazy, right? We're used to sometimes 3.5 totals for Man City, 2.75. The sandwich game in between the two slates, which will have a showdown, Leeds versus Everton. That is almost a complete pick'em, 2.75 total. Villa is hosting West Ham. Villa is a slight home favorite, plus 128, 2.5 total. And the highest total of the slate, and the second biggest favorite, is Liverpool minus 223, hosting Brighton and Hove Albion, plus 608. And I'm going to say, again, 3 total. All right. So let me start out with just like an overall slate thing, because I guess I'll say this. First off, I've been dying for big slates to come back. And I get this one, and I start digging through it last night. I'm like, man, I don't know what it is, if it's just so many 2 and 3 game slates, but this is tough. And it's not tough because of a lack of guys to play. You all the guys we want to play, maybe with the exception of Kevin De Bruyne, who's out because of injury, are on this slate. We have super high floor guys. We have James Maddison. We have Jack Grealish. We have forward eligible floor guys. We have James Rodriguez. We have, to an extent, I think Mane's floor is better than Salah. But look, on most Saturdays, we don't really worry about playing Salah or Mane. It's minus 225 totals. We have Mahrez, who's been a great floor forward. We have City pieces and then at defender, we have some of the highest floor defenders that we'll see in DFS. We have Lucas Dean at Everton playing an advanced wingback / advanced left back role. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold. We have Andrew Robertson. We have Aaron Cresswell on sets. It is not for a lack of players that you can play. In fact, it might be the opposite. What makes this slate tough is too many players you want to consider. So I think this is how I'm going to attack it. And, we'll see if the guys that I kind of mentioned follow along that suit. But I'm going to try to do my best to not get so preoccupied in any given player, because what's the difference, right? I don't think Phil Foden is in, okay? I think he's due for a rest. But is there a huge significant difference between Phil Foden and James Maddison? James Maddison probably has an outright better floor by a few points. Maybe let's call it 3 or 4 DK points. But when you equate the odds and the upside of like a guy like Phil Foden, it's not like super different. We're at slim edges here. So I think that I'm just trying to make decisions based on lineup construction and who comes together and who fits and what positions I think I need to spend up on and where I can get cheap and go from there. All right, so let's try to tackle this. I'm just gonna go game by game. I think that's the easiest way because, like I just said in that little like spiel, there's not like guys that are jumping out at me. Like if I would say there's a must play on the slate, and the first guy I do click on, I'm gonna jump ahead one. So we'll start with Leicester and Fulham. The guy that I am clicking on first is James Maddison. I think that just when you combine the floor, you combine the fact that Leicester's coming off of a really, really poor loss versus Leeds on what was that? Saturday or Sunday. I think that James Maddison, you're going to see at his best or near his best. Leicester coming out with a much better game plan. I think Fulham's in like huge fixture congestion. Everybody is, but Fulham had that extra game thrown in that really throws things off. And I think they're really like struggling just with like a shorter squad. So that's just my feeling is that Leicester should actually be a little bit more of a favorite. And James Maddison at 9,200, I think is, very, very efficiently priced, if not even maybe a slight value for the floor. All right. Outside of Maddison from this game, I probably don't want much to do with it. For GPP purposes, you could use a guy like, Perez, Harvey Barnes. For cash, I can see Albrighton. I'm still kind of tilted that he subbed off early on the weekend. He was a core play on Sunday. I think he had like 9 DK at half, and then he subs off. So, I have slight trepidation going back there. But look, if I had 5,600 in my utility spot and I liked everything else, I mean, Albrighton would be an easy decision. Assuming I think Cancelo is 5,600, 5,700. So it would depend on where it's at. I'd probably have Cancelo ahead of Albrighton. But I don't think there's a lot to like that necessitates you prioritizing a play, especially in the first game from here. And that goes on both sides. Like for Fulham, Adamel Lookman, 6,900 is okay. I'm probably not burning 7K on him on a 5-game slate like this where I need roster flexibility late. But, I guess the guys that I'm like closest to saying, like, I get it would be a guy like Robinson, left wing back for Fulham. Loftus-Cheek was nicer at 3,200. I think at 4,200, it's probably a pass, but he's been good. Just got to keep in mind Fulham is a solid dog here unless there's a possession-based team. So don't go crazy. The guy I did want to bring up if you just need an outright punt is Soyuncu for Leicester. Really good center back. Look, I don't think that that this is a must play by any means. But if you're really struggling and you want to get a lot of these other like higher upside, higher floor plays in your midfield and forward spots and not spend up on defender, like I don't think I'm that high on the Liverpool guys. Like outright punting a guy, especially if Fofana is out and you don't see Fofana on the bench, I think Soyuncu has a good chance to be ready for 90 minutes and would be a solid pump. All right, moving on to Manchester City versus Burnley, the other 1 p.m. game. Look, this is gonna be a weird slate for me, right? But I'm gonna give you guys my goalie. Like, I don't see any way you don't pay down. I talked about this on the live stream, talked about this before, but really good goalie strategy is pick the keeper that is the cheapest on the slate, which is Nick Pope. Just happens to be one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Pick a goalie that's cheapest on the slate, move up from there. So plug in Pope, all of a sudden go up, and all of a sudden you do have the salary to pay up, and you like somebody a lot more, go for it. If you don't, leave it as is. Like goalie is variant. It stinks sometimes. You get you pay all the way down, and you get Alex McCarthy. I think he still made like 8 or 9 saves versus United, but allowed 9 goals. Still was only like a 0 or -2. A lot due to his team. Or, you could get an outlier. You could have that, he has 9 saves, only allows 4 goals. That's 10 points. David De Gea only had 12, right? So, and you saved like $2,300. So, that's goalie. It's tough. All right. Let's just talk. So Burnley, you're playing no Burnley pieces. If you want to YOLO a goal, I think Chris Wood is out, but Jay Rodriguez, Ashley Barnes, sure, but I'm not prioritizing. For City, it's City roulette. I think that excuse me, that Phil Foden is due a rest. And if so, we did see, even with Foden on the pitch, Gundogan taking some sets. Gundogan's also on PKs. He also has now become one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the EPL from a scoring perspective the last few weeks. So 8,100 for Gundogan. I get it. I don't know if I can go there, but I get it. If Mahrez is in, I would expect Mahrez to take some sets too. He would likely be, on the very, very short list of forward eligible players for me. Especially in a game that he could just go nuts. So I do like Mahrez a lot if we see him in, but I can't fault you for going Sterling. Can't fault you for playing Jesus. Actually, I'll just say this, and this is just guaranteeing 2 goals. I don't know if I love Jesus. He was, got that goal early in the last game and then didn't do much from elsewhere. And then, with Burnley, their strength is actually in that middle portion of the field. Like Ashley Westwood's a really good player. Tarkowski and Ben Mee are a really good center back pairing. So I'd probably stay away from, a central forward and really try to attack the wings. So I think that of the City pieces, if Foden is in, Foden's my favorite City piece. If not, I think Mahrez and Gundogan are from there. Defender, if you have the money to spend up, Jock Cancelo, 5,700, just always gets there. And he doesn't get there the traditional ways, right? It's not crossing. It's not, he's not going to get you 9 crosses, but, you're going to look down, you get, 3 shots assisted, 3 crosses, 1 shot or 2 shots, 2 fouls drawn, 3 tackles, and you're like, oh man, he's at 12 points again. Cool. So yeah, Jock Cancelo, really good play. Punt-wise, I'm surprised they didn't change it, but if we get Aymeric Laporte, 2,800, that would be just really tough to pass on. I prefer him over, say, Inclu. Look, it's just a price play. I think anybody that didn't play Laporte on the last City slate made a mistake at 2,500. These City center backs have close to a 3 to 4 DK floor just due to like a random tackle, a random interception, plus their accurate passes. Then you have upside with their clean sheet because City's defense has been so good. So yeah, that is City versus Burnley. We're going to really pick up here. I don't have a ton to say on these last couple games. Everton versus Leeds. Sorry. This is the showdown. Look, there's actually not a ton here for me. We got James Rodriguez. We've got Lucas Dean. You have, does Rafinha start? If Rafinha does not start, Calvin Phillips, 4,900, would likely be on a majority of set pieces. Look, here's the concern with Calvin Phillips. If let's say that there is no Rafinha and you're waiting for Calvin Phillips, because at 4,800, he'd present a really good value. I think this game will be fairly open. Leeds has a good chance to have a good amount of opportunities. But if for some reason that Calvin Phillips doesn't take set pieces, they decide to get it to Matthias Klitsch, or they decide to let Jack Harrison take some, or Pablo Hernandez is in, he decides to take set pieces. At 4,800, Calvin Phillips could really, really hurt you. He sits really deep, covers the center backs. He does not press forward very much at all. His role is very much as like a fulcrum point for Leeds. He has to be very defensive minded outside of those set pieces. So just understand the warning. Like if there's no Rafinha, I'm probably going to be on Calvin Phillips too. Just I've talked a lot about here being careful of guys, these deep lying midfielders that we play for set pieces, and then they end up not having them because your outs, like from a poker term, the amount of outs that you have, you're drawing to a few single bullets. Like you've really got to get an assist on a through pass or something along those lines. So just understand that concern is there. James Rodriguez presents one of the better floor forwards on the slate. The one thing I do just caution you on, if you see Gylfi Sigurdsson in, that means that James Rodriguez does not have a monopoly set pieces. And even if you don't see Siggy, but you see Lucas Dean, there's a good chance that Lucas Dean will take those left-sided corners, the end swingers, and let James stay on the right. So do understand it's not the same Hymus that we were getting at the beginning of the season where it was a set monopoly. But I do think he gives you a combination of some sets, good open play value, and a good matchup versus Leeds. I think that's enough here. If you wanted to play over Charleston, it's fine. Just on the 5-game slate, I'm really going to try to do my best to get set takers to give me maximum floor. West Ham versus Villa. This is a Jack Grealish spot. I really do think that he sets up well. He's still taking some corners. Villa corners are kind of a mess. When El Ghazi was in, keep an eye on if he starts. If he starts, he's one of my favorite forward plays. But Grealish is taken. We've seen Ross Barkley take some. Traore always seems to take some. They're kind of a mess. So I think Grealish is really the only Villa guy I want to play. If I have the cash to play Matty Cash, it's never a bad decision. He's a good player, but 5,300 is kind of steep on the slate. Elite GPP play alert for Thomas Souček. Always scores. I don't know what to make of it, but it's the year of the central midfielder. It seems. Gundogan scores. Ruben Neves always scores. Souček always scores. These guys, Gundogan's a little different, but these other guys, they're drawing to like 2 DK before they score. So yeah, it's tough. I think that the West Ham fullbacks are a little bit interesting. Cresswell at 4,900, especially if you were to see like Bowen get a rest and you could potentially project Cresswell on a set monopoly. I think that is intriguing and a good cash play. Let's see if there's anybody else. GPP look, you could do worse than playing Mikel Antonio. I always like the player. If you think there's gonna be goals here, which this could be a sneaky like 3-2 game. Mikel Antonio 7,200 I think is fine. Ollie Watkins, if you wanted to, stack on Villa's side of things, 7,600, fine too. All right, final game: Brighton versus Liverpool. Liverpool's prices are shot up. I think my hot take, and again, I haven't fully built. I normally have like a holder. A holder comes together easily. There's just so many plays. I had to sleep on it. But my gut is that I might not play TAA and Robertson. Like that would be one of the first Liverpool main slates in forever that I didn't play one of those fullbacks. They're just not costing as much. I don't know what to attribute it to. Thiago coming into the side seems to have very much changed it. But, it used to be, that they played as like wing backs and that the outlets for creativity were always through the fullbacks. And, whether it's fatigue, whether it's a change of style, Klopp has been known in the middle of the season to kind of change things up. I don't know what it is, but, we are not seeing Robertson and TAA bound forward and send in a ton of crosses. They would kind of split sets. Robertson's been taking more corners than TAA, but now Robertson in the last 3 games, including the FA Cup, the only crosses he's getting are on corners. So, you're paying 6,100, which is fine, for some corners. But if he's not going to cross an open play, it really does make it tough. Like I would almost rather at that point play Lucas Dean than them, because I know that Lucas Dean, is what the Liverpool fullbacks used to be, which is a guy that he's going to touch the ball and, a cross is coming in. So I think TAA over Robertson just because of the open play value, but I might not spend up. Like I think on this slate, if you make a $6,800 mistake or $6,100 mistake, I think you're dead. So, I feel like I'm gravitating towards other pieces. Salah Mane is the other big decision. Salah was phenomenal versus West Ham with no Mane. It seemed to me from what I read that Mane was, they mentioned, what was it? Like something with a muscle injury. It seemed like that was just cover for, we've played this guy a ton. We think that we can beat West Ham without him. Let's see if we can get him a rest. And that's what it ended up being. So I think at 10,000, 9,700, they're really steep. If you have a strong lean and you think Liverpool's going to win 4-0, play one, play both. I get it. But it's a weird spot that Liverpool's the number 2 favorite. And I look through them and I go, especially Shaqiri at 7K, if he's like at 5,000, maybe that would make some sense. I just don't know if you can prioritize something. If you go on like SofaScore and some other sites, I have seen if Mane misses, some people Projecting Curtis Jones at left wing. I don't even think that becomes like a must play by any means. Versus United in the FA Cup, he played there for 90 minutes. Well, not a full 90. He shifted into the midfield, but 1 shot on goal, 1 foul drawn, no crosses. Like, Curtis Jones is a nice player. He's going to be a really good player for Liverpool for a long time, but he's not like a must, no matter where he's in. All right, from Brighton, I'm probably not playing any Brighton pieces. Gross is 7,300. It's actually not that gross. I mean, he was phenomenal versus Tottenham. I didn't do a preview. I mentioned FSI subscribers that I really hated Tottenham on Sunday. I thought Brighton could steamroll them, which they did. I mean, not by scoreline, but if you watch the game, they steamrolled them. I just don't think that this is the spot for Brighton, so I won't be on any Brighton pieces. And I think the punts that I've already mentioned, like Laporte or Soyuncu, things like that, that'll get you there. All right, that'll do it. I have no idea what I did on time, but hope that this helped. Should be a fun slate. Let's get after it, and hopefully see a lot of you guys at the top of the leaderboards. Once again, Keith, aka Gator Guy 231. With that, say see.